stories you're about to see are great examples of how we try to lead not only within our own organization, but truly understand our impact in our region as a whole. The stormwater program, the Parks Department, the wastewater utility are great examples of this, and I'm proud to have been able to share them with you today.
The Johnson County Stormwater Management Program has recently gone through a strategic planning process, which shifted our focus from addressing stormwater problems on a municipal basis to a watershed basis. Thinking about, maybe I could do something in my city if your project is down here, further down in the watershed, downstream in the watershed, and I did something upstream to retain some water, it might affect your project in a beneficial way. But one thing that we are doing is some 2D modeling of the floodplains in Indian Creek and in Brush Creek and Turkey Creek, and this will give us more information with better models on our rainfall to better define where the water will go in these more extreme events. As far as the drought side of things, doing practices that infiltrate the stormwater instead of sending it off down a pipe down the stream, and infiltrating it locally with practices like a bioretention cell, which is native plants, or a rain garden that does it in a very similar way. That's going to help our groundwater levels. One project that we participated in recently is to help increase the storage in these ponds at Meadowbrook Park, which is a Johnson County Parks and Rec park in the city of Prairie Village. And just upstream from the city of Overland Park. So by increasing the storage in these ponds, we're able to decrease flooding downstream, and that has helped take some homes out of the floodplain and also some streets out of the floodplain, which improves public safety. One new type of project that we are looking to implement with the Stormwater Management Program is the ability to invest in stream bank stabilization and restoring the riparian buffers around streams. You're not developing right up to the edge of a stream or building right up to the edge of a stream. We've encouraged the use of native plants along waterways in people's landscaping.
Resilient urban forests are incredibly important to Johnson County and the entire Kansas City area. Removing invasive species is critical to make sure we have the next generation of trees in a forest. The park I'm currently standing in, Ernie Miller Nature Center, was the worst case scenario. We had a 116-acre park that was completely choked out by invasive species. Since the late 70s and early 80s, bush honeysuckle has taken kind of a chokehold on the riparian areas of Johnson County and spread from there. Bush honeysuckle is a pretty insidious plant where it drops lots and lots of seed. It has tendencies to use chemical warfare and inhibit other species around it. So you couldn't see 6 feet into this forest. From the edge, bush honeysuckle had overwhelmed the entire landscape. The entire forest had been choked out. To remove bush honeysuckle through this large-scale project where we removed over 400 acres of it, we had to create a bidding process that allowed us to hire conservation contractors that could come back year after year. And that allowed us to have them come in with anything from forestry mowers that would be shredding in an understory to hand crews using chainsaws. And it's not just removing something like bush honeysuckle, it's coming back and looking for the seedlings of next year. Spot spraying, using fire on the landscape, and finding multiple ways to keep bush honeysuckle from ever thriving again is really the long-term point of this project. Native plant species like river oats help us after we remove the bush honeysuckle at a large scale. Our volunteers and staff can go collect this, distribute it, and make sure that it starts growing again on the forest understory. As we've been restoring the park ecosystem after the large-scale bush honeysuckle removal, we've also been aggressively planting young baby oak trees. And so we're trying to recreate the age classifications of trees that were shaded out by the bush honeysuckle. When we have these healthy parks that have a really nice balanced group of native plants, they have adapted to change over hundreds and thousands of years. And instead of having these plants that are kind of hogging all the resources, you have a really well-balanced network of plants and animals working together. And so when we're able to build resilient parks, it allows us to show the community the scale at which we can do this work and do hundreds and hundreds and thousands of acres of habitat stabilization in riparian areas.
Here at the Tomahawk Creek Wastewater Treatment Facility. I'm going to explain a little bit about one of our new processes called the side stream treatment process. As part of the treatment process, we separate out the liquids from the solids. We take those solids and we run them through large centrifuges. And the centrifuges concentrate the solids at the center and spin the water out. That excess water is what we're treating in this side stream basin. Typically, that load, that side stream as we call it, was sent back to the main biological process where it had to be treated again with large amounts of oxygen from blowers that use a significant amount of energy. Wastewater treatment in general, it's a very large consumer of energy, of electricity, and a lot of that at our facilities comes from the use of either large pumps or large blowers. Since this process only has very small blowers that are used just for mixing, for a gentle mixing, they don't use nearly the amount of energy as our main biological process does. So the horsepower for these is significantly lower, and we end up seeing a significant amount of energy savings by doing that. This project allows us to not only more effectively meet our environmental requirements, but also allows us to do it in a much more cost-effective manner.
As we look to the future, Johnson County is excited not only to continue leading by example, but also following by example to create a more resilient future with you, our neighbors in the Kansas City region. Thank you.